All right, today I want to get back and talk a little bit about the glottal stroke. There's questions about the glottal stroke and which way is the best way and blah, 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 blah. The truth is, if I breathe correctly, there are no problems. If I go, ah, so it's not a glottal stroke. So, well, let's make a glottal stroke deliberately and see what's going on. If I deliberately go, unfortunately, I can sing that way. How are you today? See, I can sing. It puts my voice in my nose, and it will eventually destroy your throat. And who knows what can happen down there in terms of damage. Now, Caruso said in his book, if you hear someone singing with a glottal stroke, they're singing too far forward. So let's see what happens if I go and I'm going to start walking backwards back in my vocal cords back there and back in my throat, and I'm going to get off that glottal stroke. So let's see what happens. How are you today? I'm fine. Now that is nowhere near how are you today? I'm fine. So we have to learn what the glottal stroke is and how to get off of it. If you breathe, here we go again, if you breathe, you don't have any problems. If your breathing is correct and it's advanced and developed enough, it's impossible to glottal stroke. You can do it, but you really have to make something happen. But if I go and breathe way down in my lower back and fill up my bottom like it's big balloons down there, and I go, especially if I pull my stomach in while I'm doing it, which increases compression on my ribcage and makes it open out even more and down. So I go, I can make a very clean attack, but it's not a glottal stroke. It's not If I'm glottal stroking and try to sing a high note, it's going to sound like, somebody stepped on the cat's tail. So we got to figure out a way to not especially try to use the glottal stroke thinking I'm getting my voice, forward and getting a forward resonance. And a lot of people think, oh, I've got to get forward now. And they're right on that glottal stroke. And let's face it, that means you close your vocal cords, your vocal folds. You close them, you hold them tight enough to put air pressure on them without them opening. And then you open. See? We're supposed to leave the vocal cords free and open. And then when I start to sing, I create an area. When the air starts to pass over this, it creates an area of lighter air pressure, and it draws the vocal cords together to the point that they start to vibrate. So it's and not So again, if I breathe a certain way, see what's happened? My vocal cords are floppy loose inside. Everything is loose. And I go, So everything is behind the glottal stroke. That's one way to think about singing. You notice that the resonance goes forward like mad, except it's not nasal. So I've got a great big forward resonance. It's funny about Lily Lehman in her book and the way she describes the true mask as being the upper front half of the skull. So she imagined that her mask went from here to here, right? So if you want to be a good mask singer and you want to have a lot of true mask resonance, then do not get on the glottal stroke. When I go, and bring it down forward on, you can hear me bringing it forward to the glottal stroke function. And my whole resonance falls down and comes down here and gets in the nasal cavity. And of course, it's in the Caruso book about page 2 or 3 where he says, never sing into the nasal cavity. There's some super talented people out there right now singing, and nobody hears them very well, or they have to sing as a baritone instead of a tenor, or a mezzo or a contralto instead of a soprano, because they've got the voice, they have a false concept of the resonance. What is the mask? If I go ma 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 ma, that's an M. Ma, it opens my nose, and it's not the true resonance. That's the false mask. So if I do something to close my nose, and you go bob, 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 or da, 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 right? Anything that will close my nose will prevent me from singing the false mask and make it come up here. Now, if I do a glottal stroke, it's all in my nose, which should be one reason not to sing on the glottal stroke, because the nasal sound does not carry well. You mustn't confuse a sound that's very forward up here with a sound that is nasal, which is forward down here. So I can go, one of the famous vocalists, he says, if I sing where the NG is, it's in my nose. But if I sing over that line, go, it's not a glottal stroke, and the resonance rises up and goes up here in my upper front half of my skull. So if I do these things wrong, I'm in a glottal stroke. All of these, almost every M or N or NG wants to bring the voice down here. There's a famous phrase from the Mano Lescaut aria for the tenor called Donna non vidi mai. And Caruso's recording of it, it's on an A flat where he comes in and says, he quotes her. She says, "My name is Mano Lescaut," and he goes, "Mano Lescaut mi chiamo," but on a high note, right? Here, up there. If I can play it on, get the keyboard turned off. It's written Mano mi chiamo. So how many nasal sounds do I have there? Mano mi chiamo, right? So I've got at least 4. But what happens if I do it like Caruso does on the recording? He says bado bigiabo. He does not say any M's or N. Bado let's bigiabo. It sounds like I said the words, but I really did cheat, and I really did say bigiabo, bi. Now, back to the glottal stroke. If I do you try to get people to learn how to sing staccati. Really, everyone should do it, but all the high sopranos have to do it in their repertoire. They have to have a high staccato. Let's face it. So, if I do a staccato on the glottal stroke, you no matter how much I try to phonate a darker vowel, it's still sitting on my glottal stroke. To get it off, I need to know how to breathe. Right? If I'm going to use it without some breath work and breath consciousness and breath technique, I better identify it so I can go so as staccato behind the glottal stroke. Okay? So here we go. So there's a kind of a German breathing method, support method, where you attack while you're still breathing in. You go. And that restrained, suspended way of holding the ribs does get you off the glottal stroke. So that's one of its good things. The problem is that it gets a little shallow because the action of support, of restraint of the breath, control of the breath, happens more in the upper ribs. So if I go, but it's got me off my glottal stroke. Now what does it do to my phonation? I want to say e, o, u, and I go, e, o, u. How are you today? So nice to see you. And all of a sudden I'm speaking, I don't know how, like some imitation of a classical actor in London. The whole idea is to be able to use normal speech phonation, e, o, u, but without that glottal stroke. E, o, u. How are you today? I take a deep breath and go, huh, and attach my breath to my diaphragm. Huh. E, o, u. How are you today? I'm going to go downtown to get something to eat. And I'm saying instead of See? It's like everything we do is a benefit or the lack thereof. And you really want to spend some time thinking about what it is you're trying to do. What do you really want to do? I want to get my voice forward. Well, why? Who said that? Nobody ever had a voice more forward than Enrico Caruso. And he said in his book, the ah vowel is very far back and low in the throat. Joan Sutherland talked about singing backwards. Benjamin Gili, Lauli Volpi talked about sliding down and back. There are many singers that talked about inhaling the voice, right? So what is this obsession with trying to get forward to the point that you're getting up here in the false mask and you're going, ah, 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 see? Then what people do is they lift the soft palate, and they start getting some very, very strange sounds. There's some very great contortions in the throat. And the language just goes to heck. If I say, to be or not to be or not to be, what if I do this glottal stroke, try to get it forward, to be or not to be, now I've got it forward. Now what am I going to do? Well, I can't pronounce the language like that, so I have to do something inside, saying, yawn, to be or not to be, or lift my soft palate, yawn, to be or not to be, and the language is distorted. The only way to get it so you can go is if I go, to be or not to be, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I can say the words as clear as a bell. And by the way, the critics notice that. They always write in the reviews, very beautiful diction, understood this person the best on the stage. And the reason is that we are using speech phonation behind the glottal stroke, hopefully achieved by deep breathing. Okay? All right, let's see if that helps. Give it a try. Bye.